Welcome back to Cadwell Park for the 7th round of the 750 Motor Club Bikesports Championship. This championship caters for sports racing cars of any make that have been fitted with a production motorbike engine and gearbox. So far this season, Richard Stables is the man on top of the championship. He's lining up second on the grid, but the man who's taken the most wins, Darren Luke, isn't here this weekend. On pole position then we have Paul Steele alongside Richard Stables, and the second row is James Brakel and Steve Cave as they wait for the lights to go out, and away they go, and it is in fact Steve Cave who's got an excellent start from the second row of the grid in the number 11 car, squeezing as they go three abreast towards Coppice for the first time. But a great start from Steve Cave sees him take the lead as they make their way towards Charlie's for the first time.
And it looks like James Brakel has gone up into second position as well from the inside of row 2 of the grid. So Paul Steele in his Radical SR3 not too well away. He's out there in the invitation class this weekend. Most of the other front runners in class A2, which denotes cars that have a standard rather than a modified engine. So into Park Corner for the first time, and it's not one of the Radicals that leads, but it's the JKS SRC10 being driven by Steve Cave, the former double monoposto champion, having his first season in sports car racing. Brakel in second position, and then third looks to be Paul Steele, with Richard Stables, who started on the front row, on the outside of the front row, and had 2 wins at Anglesey. He's back in fourth position.
But looking for a move up the inside here looks to be James Brakel as they make their way down into the mountain bottom, but it wasn't quite close enough when they actually got to the braking zone, was he? So it certainly was a lightning start from Steve Cave, who was about 4 seconds slower than the pole position, the front row men I should say. So he's really going to be holding this pack up, isn't he, as they make their way through the Hall Bends now and down towards Barn Corner, and you can see that there's a bit of a train starting to form behind him.
There is the 5th car out there is James Abbott, son of one of the founders of the Radical Mark. Just 16 years of age in his first season. I think he helped to build that particular car as well, which is one of the PR6 Pro Sport machines. Oh, there's a challenge on for the lead, and he's through. That's Brakel through into the lead on the inside at the first part of Charlie's, and Steve came. Oh, and there's a spin, and that's Paul Steele who goes spinning across the track and almost collects Richard Stables there.
So our pole position man drops a long way back down the order, and that means then that James Brakel has managed to get a bit of a lead out there at the front, and I'd imagine it's going to be down to how quickly Richard Stables can get past Steve Cave as to how quickly he's going to be able to catch up with Brakel, because you can see the break Brakel's making as they make their way towards the gooseneck and then down towards Mansfield, dropping down the hill. It looks as though Cave is fairly good in a straight line, but a little slower through the corners at the moment as they make their way down towards Mountain Bottom. Here comes the attack from Richard Stables, but very late blocking from Steve Cave just about keeps him behind.
Robust defence there against the hotelier from York, Richard Stables, Hamlet as he is known. They just get a little bit light as they go over the mountain top there into Hull Bends, and Richard Stables is going to try and slow his car through on the inside into the first right hand element there, but he can't do it. He out in one of the PR6 Radicals, tucked in behind the JKS. That's the John Kirby built car based on the Speeds chassis, the South African built car, but John Kirby these days the builder of this type of car. But look, James Brakel is getting a very decent advantage now, and here comes Stables once more, trying to go wheel to wheel with the red car. He's got the inside line and he's taken it into Coppice.
Yeah, Steve Cave left the door open a little there, didn't he, on the way down into Coppice, and Stables wasn't going to be asked twice.
Now it's much closer for the lead because Richard Stables has closed right in on James Brakel then, and he's going to have a look as they go towards Park Corner side by side, and Stables on the inside line, bit more experience possibly than James Brakel can go through, and he does. So Stables takes the lead now, and Brakel has led for the last few laps, has gone down to second position.
They make their way out of Park now, and you can already see the gap that Stables is starting to pull out. We've got side by side here. This, of course, is Paul Steele trying to make his way back up the order past Steve Cave after, of course, Paul Steele we saw spin on the first or second lap here, and he's going to challenge Cave as they head down into the gooseneck. Cave has been robustly defending all day, and it's not going to stop now as they drop down towards Mansfield. A little look up the inside from Paul Steele, but he's not going to be quite close enough, and right behind them, of course, is James Abbott.
This is the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th positions. Steele in the SR3 lining up the JKS once more as they come to the foot of the mountain, and this battle is allowing Abbott to close in, isn't it? Yes, look how much closer he is now as they crest the hill there and head into Hull Bends. We had one non-starter in this race, by the way. That was the Kelforms Ratoga of Kevin Goda. He was out there in qualifying but didn't make the start of the race. Also out there in this one we've got Oliver Cox in one of the Radical SR4s, Joe Jackson in the Global GT Light, and one of the Radical Club Sports for Peter Brown as well.
Out of Barn Corner comes this battle then, and along the start-finish straight once more. Cave looks to have enough breathing room at the moment as they make their way towards Coppice, and Steele will be very frustrated obviously after that early spin, and is he going to have a launch there? I thought he was going to have a look up the inside into Charlie's, but not to be this time as they make their way out onto the Park Straight. He's got a poor run out of there, has Steve Cave. That's going to give Steele a chance to get alongside. He's going to have the inside for Park Corner when they finally get there, but it's a really long drag down. Cave is going to try and hang on all the way around the outside, but I doubt he's going to be able to manage it. A little late on the brakes for Paul Steele. He just chops off the apex nicely so that Steve Cave can't get back at him, and now Cave needs to watch his back from James Abbott.
Absolutely right. I always thought Abbott might be able to capitalise as they rounded Park Curve that time. Tremendous racing this from the 750 Motors Club Bikesports Championship. It's not the largest entry we've got here at Cadwell Park this weekend, but the racing has been absolutely fantastic in this 18-minute plus 1 lap race. There's some lappery going on. That's the Radical Club Sport of Peter Brown being lapped for, I think, the second time in this race, but look how close it is for the lead. James Brakel really has not given up.
Certainly hasn't as they crest the hill towards Park once more. It was about half a second between these two guys in qualification, and that is going to cost him a half a second or so as James Brakel runs a little bit wide on the exit. Now this is this continuing battle, and that's the last lap board being held out, isn't it, as Steve Cave and James Abbott make their way across the start-finish line again.
Yeah, Richard Stables well on his way around the final lap now with, we saw just how hard James Brakel was pushing, didn't we, with that off there up at the top of the circuit, but Stables with this gap now in hand over the second place car, looking for his third win of the season. Darren Lucas won 4 of the races at Mallory Park and Brands Hatch, as we've said, but he's also contesting the Radical Club Cup as well this season, not here this weekend as a result of that. Turning their way through the right-hander then at the hairpin. Richard Stables, well look, Brakel is closing in on him on this final lap, but I don't think he's going to do it. There is Oliver Cox, the Nottingham driver, ex-grass track racer in his first season of racing. He goes across the line, but the checkered flag goes to Richard Stables, as pulling off there on the inside of the circuit is Joe Jackson in the Global GT Light.
Here is the battle for 4th place though between Steve Cave and James Abbott. It's a Radical versus a JKS as they make their way into the Hull Bends for the final time. Cave, as we've said many a time, has been defending solidly throughout this race, and if he can just keep it steady through 2 more corners, he's going to hang on to that 4th position. Down into Barn Corner, this is the last chance for Abbott to make a move. He's not close enough, so Steve Cave, after an excellent start, has dropped back down the order to finish where he started in 4th position.
Here are the results of the first of the day's 2 bike sports races. Richard Stables winning by 0.4 of a second from James Brakel, and Paul Steele 3rd in his invitation class SR3. Brakel getting a new lap record as well. There was a second race later on in the day. Brakel won that time in dominant form, it was, beating Richard Stables by 16 seconds with James Abbott 3rd. But race 1 went to Richard Stables, and I caught up with him after his race.